Yo, what is up? It's me, Mr. Lopez, coming at you with another digital math lesson for California Pre-Algebra. I don't know why I'm talking like this. I'm bored. But I'm about to be a little bit less bored because we're about to talk about data. Alright, so this chapter, chapter 12, usually considered a fairly straightforward, easy kind of chapter, is all about data. And this is a really important chapter. Why? Well, because the time that you're living in right now, everything is kind of centered around data. You guys wake up Sunday morning and you guys get a notification on your phone from your iPhone just saying how much screen time, and you guys can click and open that and you guys can see all the apps and all the data that's been taken from Apple and Google and Bill Gates and all these people that are just taking data, and they're using that to kind of, some might say help. That's a matter of opinion, but definitely it's really impacting our lives. And someday when you're my age and you have to buy stuff online and you guys see ads catered to the stuff that you've been searching for, and just kind of everything that you're dealing with in life nowadays revolves around data. So data collection is really important, and this chapter is going to be about that. And we're going to start with chapter 12, lesson 1, talking about mean, median, and mode. We're going to be talking about a few key terms that are really important to data collection. Actually, really easy things to understand, but also easy things to confuse with each other. So let's go ahead and start talking about mean, median, and mode. And these are known as measures of central tendency. Measures of central tendency. A tendency is a person or an object's or a situation's typical desire to do something, or a natural inclination. All right, and we're going to be talking about collecting data. So here we go. Like, consider the data. They give us a few numbers. So we're just going to think about a few numbers, and these can be pretty much any object or pretty much anything you want to apply to it. But if we just had numbers like 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 8, and 12, all right, we can find the mean by adding them together and dividing them by the total number of objects. Like, let's say that Karen has several friends in her life, several Facebook friends, and this person made 2 Facebook posts a day, and this other friend made 3 Facebook posts a day, and this one made 4 and 5 and 8 and 8 and 12. Well, if you add them all together and divide that total sum by the number of friends that she had, you would figure that her friends have an average of 6 Facebook posts a day. Now, mean is very similar. You probably heard the word average before, and usually when we use the word average, what we mean is mean. You get it? You get what I did there? All right. So real basic. Whenever you see the mean word mean, somebody's asking for the mean, you're just going to do the traditional average. All right. The next thing we're going to do is the median. The median is the middle number when the data values are written in order from smallest to greatest. So I took all these numbers and lined them up, and I put them from smallest to greatest. And the median is going to be the number that's directly in the middle. Median means middle. When you guys start to drive eventually, and there's that like little aisle that separates the 2 sides of the road, that's called the median. So the median is right in the middle. If there's an odd amount of data values, it's the number right in the middle. Right? If there's an even amount, you would just take the mean or the average of the 2 numbers in the middle. And we'll look more at this in the examples to follow. So the mean is the average. Another word for average. Median is a number that's in the middle. The mode is a number that appears the most frequently, the most common number. So out of these numbers, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 8, 12, all of the numbers are used exactly one time except for the number 8. And in this case, that would mean that 8 is the mode. All right? So mean, median, and mode. Now we have the word range. The range is a set of data that is the difference between the greatest and least values. So basically, you're just going to take the biggest number and subtract the smallest number, and that's all that it is. That's all the range is. So we can refer to these examples, and we can use these examples to try to find mean, median, mode, and also range. Okay? So let's look at example 1. Use the readathon graph to find the mean, median, mode, and range. So according to this, Nick read 40 pages in 1 week. Bettina, I don't know who names their daughter Bettina, 45, Kyle 48, Larry, Marita, and Latanya. All right, they have these different amount of pages they read in this 1 week. So probably the most useful thing to do is to line them up in order from smallest to biggest first, which is what they've done. And in order to find the mean, you're just going to add them all together. 40 plus 45 plus 48 plus 50 plus 50 plus 59 is going to be 292. And then you divide it by how many different people there are in this group. There are 6 people in the group. So if you find the mean, it's just going to be the number of pages total divided by the number of people. And they get about 48.7 pages on average. Okay? The median is going to be the number that's directly in the middle. So if you count these numbers right in the middle, the number right in the middle, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And right in the middle of the 6, there's 2 numbers in the middle. There's no number directly in the middle. So if we ever have an even amount, then we would just go ahead and find the mean between these two. So what is a number between 48 and 50? Well, 49. So the median would be 49. The mode is asking which number is used the most. And all of these numbers are used once except for the number 50. So 50 is the mode. And the range is going to be the biggest number minus the smallest number. 59 minus 40 is 19. So the 19 is the range. All right, let's look at standards check number 1. Find the mean, median, mode, and range for these numbers. Now the first thing that I probably would want to do is to rearrange these in order from smallest to biggest. It is not necessary to do this as the first step, but I do think that's helpful. I'm going to go ahead and organize them. So I have 2.3 is the smallest number. 2.3 is the next smallest number. All right, used twice, but so you write it down twice. The next smallest number is 2.7, then 2.9, 2.7, 2.9, 3.2, and 4.3. That's a terrible 3 and a terrible 4. 4. That's barely better. All right, so I wanted to do that just because that might simplify things later on, especially to kind of get a count of all of our numbers. Now, the median is also known as the average. So, or the mean. The mean is also known as the average. So we're just going to go ahead and add these values up. 2.3 plus 2.3 plus 2.7 plus 2.9 plus 3.2 plus 4.3. And all I'm going to do is add these up and divide them by how many digits we have. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 total digits. So we're going to add them up and divide them by 6. And this average should somewhere be between 2.3 and 4.3 if we did this correctly. So I added them all up using a calculator, and I got, let's see, 17.7. Well, I skipped a step. Let's say 17.7 divided by 6 is 2.95. So 2.95 is the mean. The median is going to be the number that's in the middle. But notice I actually have 6 digits, so there's 2 numbers in the middle. All right. So what number is in the middle of 2.7 and 2.9? Well, 2.8 would be in the middle. 2.8 would be in the middle. All right, because literally in the middle of these two numbers. Now the mode is a number that's going to be used the most. And looking at this, the only number that's used more than once was 2.3. This is the mode. It's the number that's used the most. Mode, number that's used the most. All right. And then the range is just going to be a subtraction problem. It's just going to be the biggest number, 4.3, minus the smallest number, 2.3, which is going to be 2.0, or plainly 2. All right, so this is just going to be subtraction. All right, from the biggest number minus the smallest number. Now let's go ahead and look at example number 2, identifying modes. Now remember, modes, mode just means the most often. So how many modes, if any, so there might not be any, does each have? Looking at these values, like this group of numbers, $1.50, $2, $2.25, $2.40, $3.50, and $4, are any of them used more than once? No. Since they're all only used once, for this problem there is no mode. There's no number that's used more than any other number. Now looking at part B, looking at these data values, 8 and 14 are both used twice. All right, so there's actually, for this problem, 2 modes. Now note, the problem is not asking what are the modes, they're asking how many. So we want to go ahead and just answer with 2 modes. Now looking at the third set of data, even though they're not numbers, you can still apply the mode process to this. Looking at this, grape is used twice, but strawberry is used 1, 2, 3 times. So how many modes does it have? It has 1 mode, all right, because strawberry is used more than every other thing. All right, so even though grape has more than 1, strawberry is used the most often, therefore strawberry is the 1 mode. The last thing we have to talk about for this lesson is the concept of an outlier. An outlier is data value that is much greater or much less than the other data values. Outliers are usually the ones that stand out and they don't really make sense. Like let's say that in your class, almost everybody's about 5 foot, 5'2", 5'3", 5'5", or something like that. But all of a sudden you have like a 6'2" kid in your class. Well, his height doesn't really match with the rest of your heights, so therefore he would be considered an outlier. Or maybe an outlier would be something like the class average for a test was 85%. But then you have somebody that scored really high or really low, and that might be an outlier. So like looking at this map, you might say, well, which country is an outlier? Well, Belize is 200 square miles, which is really different. But compared to the other values, the outlier is actually going to be Honduras. Because Honduras, the closest number to it, is actually 1,500 away, where Belize is only 1,000 away, square miles away from Costa Rica. All right, so how would it affect the mean? Well, if you take the number out, it does change the value by a decent amount. So on your homework, I'm going to be asking you to find the outlier. I'm not going to ask you to find the mean. Just kind of understand that if you take the outlier out, it does mean something. All right. So which number out of all these numbers is least like the other one? Is farthest away, not close? 9, 10, 12, 13, 8, 9, 31, and 9. Well, the outlier would be 31. Because 31 is really different compared to these other values. If I was saying, how old are the people in your church group? All right, and the 31-year-old would probably not fit in with the rest of these other people. All right, and looking for the outlier in this group, 17 and a half, 18, 19 and a half, 16, 17.5, or 1 would be the outlier. It's the one that stands out the most, that doesn't fit in with the rest of the data points. And that happens. And sometimes there are outliers. Like if I ask you, how much Netflix did you watch this quarantine? And everybody's like, 24 hours a day, man. There's that one person that says, I didn't watch any Netflix. They are the outlier. Not telling the truth, probably. All right, that's it. See ya.